想不到的结果会在故事里发生。有时候你告诉我没有错，是我的本能在闯荡。写给你的纸堆手绘显得没有头绪，历历不起那些突起来的故事。现在不如最好，今天开始飞跃。你说今天不如最好，要从现在开始飞跃。盛开，盛开，像一朵雪莲。盛开，盛开，盛开，像一朵雪莲盛开。有时候冷漠也会悄无声息地蔓延，再一丝光亮，一丝温暖，一个渴望的拥抱。你试着微笑，重新回到人群。有时候身体的苦修像心灵的远行，你试着微笑，重新回到人群。你对自己说，嘿，别泄气，这是新的一天。盛开，盛开，盛开，像一朵雪莲盛开，盛开，盛开，像一朵雪。
Right. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Teams, Discord. Type on if you can, please. All right. That's good. Okay. Today, as you've seen already, we're going to study lesson 13, 第13课, 第13课. Oh, before we get into that, I want to show you our assignment 6 and the form for our test, for our term test. Right. On our Sunland page, week 7, which is the lesson 13, we're going to look at it. You have a 3-part of assignment, 6.1, and this is assignment 6.1 is going to be the exact form for your term test of part 1. Your term test has 3 parts already. Has 3 parts also. 1 is as same as this 6.1. Once you get into that, let me show you. For example, rearrange the word, you just need to drag those words, right, to the order that it has to be and to make the sentence. Same, rearrange the word. And choose the proper word to fill in the blank. Choose, right? You see, you drag those words into the blank to complete the sentence in the way you think that's correct. Rearrange the word again. Choose the pinyin, right? And select the missing word to complete the sentence or the dialogue. And now you can finish your attempt. Please also always remember to submit all and finish, or otherwise the system won't pick up. And you see, you have 30 minutes to finish that. Once you have opened this attempt, there's no way to going back, and there's no second attempt. And this is the same thing for your term test as well. But your term test will have 45 minutes because it's have slightly more questions than this one. And the reason I'm doing the 6.1 assignment in this way is just to get yourself familiar with the test. It is already here, just hidden from you, that you're going to be done. It will it will be open from the 15th of June for 2 days. So within those 2 days, you can pick up any time. I know some of you have electricity problem, internet problem, water problem, and whatever the problem. That's why, unlike other sections or department, I decided to give you 2 days to do this. And this is certain precaution I've already done on this part. When you enter into the part, you have 40 minutes to complete it, that limited certain point for you to check on your dictionary or your textbook. But if you insisted to do so, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to know that you checked your book or not. And all those questions are shuffled. That means your questions is not as same as your friend's question. So don't try to give your answers or copy and paste the question to your friend. You will harm him or her, not helping them. And it will be part 2 and part 3. Part 2, I'm going to explain in detail in our group chat and also leave the explanation here. The part 2 will be a recording, and you need to listen to the recording and transcript it, write down into Chinese, and translate it into English. Right? And part 3, I'm going to give you a topic, and you're going to record yourself that topic and send back to Selen, to me, basically. And for our entire test, I decided to give you 1 week to complete it. So you will just choose the time you feel comfortable. Right? I'm not going to give you a fixed time. So from the week of 15th of June, you will have 5 days. 2 days for the part 1, 1 day for part 2, and another 2 days for part 3. So it's not in a rush, and you should have enough time to finish that. And it leaves no room for the excuse like I don't have internet or I don't have access to my computer. Right. Okay, let's come back to our real business. For today. We're writing from the 15th of June. I know your Sunland timetable must have given you a date, but I think it's better to give you more time to study on that. We're going to write on the 15th of June, and you will have a week to complete this. On the 8th, okay, this one on the 8th, that's your assignment 6 that you need to submit on the 7th of June, I think. That is your assignment 6, your assignment on the lesson 13, the lesson we're going to look at today. You still need to do that, right? That is part of your assignment. But that's just to give you a broad idea of what kind of exam you're going to do. Right, now we get back to our lesson 13, 第13课，我已经搬家了。I have moved to a new place. If you compare the Chinese with the English, you probably will find something awkward. For example, 已经 I have moved to a new place. I have moved to a new place. Move from one place to another to a new place. A new place. But you can't either find 已经 in the Chinese or 家 in the English, right? We all know 家 means family, home, but it doesn't say moved to a new family, it says to a new place. And second, 已经, those Chinese characters, this Chinese word we haven't learned, that means something happened already, which also does not appear in this English title, I have moved. In this English title, have moved is a verb indicating something has already done, right? And this is the core, the kernel, the essence or whatever you want to call that, this is something you must learn from lesson 13. Even if you decided you're not going to remember all the others, but this part you have to remember. That is how to describe something that has already been done, or someone did something already, right? This is in your grammatical point, notes number 2 on page 139页。139页 139, right? The particle le is a modal particle. Modal particle always have a grammatical function. It forms a kind of, or complete a kind of grammar. Is a modal particle used at the end of a sentence indicating something has happened or the situation has changed. Right? This is the core message, the core knowledge that we have to learn from lesson 13. The modal particle le, one, right? That means it has different various functions. The use at the end of sentence indicating something has happened or the situation has changed. It helps form a sentence, and often occurs in the pattern verb plus object plus le. It is usually accompanied by a time word, the word indicating times, or phrase in the sentence, time word or phrase in the sentence. For example, I can say 我吃早饭, right? If you look at this alone, 我吃早饭, that's a statement, I eat breakfast. But within the predicate part, if I decided 吃 is a verb, to eat, 早饭 is the object, the breakfast, I eat breakfast, right? If I decided to put a particle le immediately after the VO structure, 我吃早饭了, that is also a statement, but telling you the action of eating the breakfast has already been done. Okay, we're going to look at more examples into those, but keep this in your mind. That's a core thing in lesson 13, besides all those vocabularies. Vocabularies are the fundamental. If you don't understand vocabulary, you won't be able to continue learning. But le is very important this time as well. Right, let's look back. The new word, so-called new words together. Most of them you learned already. Let's read them together. Repeat after me. Make sure you do read them out aloud. It is very important, please. Thank you. 租 套 房子 上 了 那 旁边 方便 Let's read this again. 旁边 number 7 and number 8. 方便 大 房租 贵 美 最后 又 满意 Okay, good. And let's look at them together. Number 1, 租 is a verb meaning to rent. So in the context of lesson 13, because as the title indicated, they're moving to a new places, and we assume they have rented a new house, right? To rent a new house, how to say that in Chinese? You just lay them together. To rent, how to say to rent? 租, right? 租 a house, 房子 right? To rent a house, 租房租房子 Rent a house, rent a room. And same thing, you can rent whatever you want to rent. 租店 Remember 商店 店 meaning the store, right? And you can also do whatever you want to rent. That's you use as same as all the other languages to rent. 租套 number 2, 套 套 here is a measure word. We've seen 套 already. 套 as a measure word is used to describe something coming in a set, something coming in the suit. Here in lesson 13, that means 一套房子. Why the measure word for 房子 is 套? This doesn't mean 一间. We've learned 一间房子. This doesn't mean 一间房子 is wrong, but they have differences. 间 indicating one room within a house, right? So when I say 一间房子, people will normally say 一间屋子, but 一间房子 is also fine. You indicating either one room within the house or a house that has only one room, right? Because 间 is a measure word for one room, right? But when I say 一套房子, that means I'm referring some house that coming in the set. They have living rooms, they have bedrooms, they have kitchen, and they have toilet. Right. So when we are trying to use the measure word, we always remember what it fundamentally means. In this case, 套 fundamentally refers to something comes in a set. For example, you see in the English meaning here, it tells us we can use it for books. 两套书, for example. If I say 两套书, what that mean? That means 2 sets of books, right? What do you mean a set of book? That means more than one book. It comes in a series, right? 房子 and furniture. Furniture, 家具. 家具. 家具 meaning furniture. 三套家具. What I mean, 3 sets of furnitures. Because furniture always comes in a set. You buy a sofa that normally comes not only one sofa, right? It comes in a set, different pieces putting together. So as far as you remember, that measure word of 套 is used to describe something comes in a set. Then it makes sense when you refer to a house, or books, or furniture. If you only remember 套 as some measure word used to describe a house, then books and furniture will not make sense, right? So try to remember this measure word for its original meaning, a set of things. 房子, number 3, house, building. We don't need to talk about this. And in short, you can say 房 itself, but within the context, right? Normally, you say 房子. It is a noun. 上, remember 下. 下, we've learned 下 has a lot of meanings, right? Below, right? Next. And 上 also means above and previous, right? Below and next, 上 meaning above and previous, right? For example, 上个月, right? We've seen many of this. 上个月 meaning the previous month. 上个星期, the previous week. Le, number 5, le. Very important here. Le meaning, le is a modal particle used at the end of a sentence to indicate something has happened or occurred. Right. Number 6, na. Pronoun that. We saw na many times. You always need to remember na with 这, which means here, 这 and na. Put them together, they become easier to remember. 这 and na, this and that. Right. 这些 and 那些 are the plural form. Those, these, and those. Right? 这些 and 那些 these, and those. 旁边 besides. We don't need to talk about this. From the lesson 6, the direction, we learned 旁边 meaning side or beside. 方便 adjective, convenient. People normally will talk about the location is very convenient. Because, for example, if a house that is surrounded by the schools, by the shopping centers, well, it's a little bit different to here. Because I have discovered South African people tend to live in a very lonely house that from nowhere. But Chinese people, if they try to describe a house as convenient, they normally mean this house is surrounded by the shopping center, by the subway station, by the schools, and by the hospitals. Because in that case, if you are sick, you can walk to the hospital. You go to school, your kids can walk to the school. If you go to somewhere, you can just get onto the subway. And normally those kind of property are very expensive. Right? But those kind of property, you can use 方便 to describe. 大 we don't need to explain this. 小 you always remember them together. 大 and 小 right? Many 多 and small, little, a few 少 right? 大小多少 If you look at number 10, you probably will get confused with number 1. Number 10, 房租. Number 1, 租房. Right? Now let's look at what's the difference between them. What's the difference do you think? 租房, the verb coming in front of a noun to rent a house. Right? 房租, the house coming, the noun coming in front of the verb. That means the rent you pay. Right? The rent you pay for renting the house. 房租 meaning the rent or the charge for renting a house. 租房 meaning to rent a house. Sometimes people get confused with this, and I remember last year one student asked me, 老师, why Chinese is difficult? And it's such difficult like this. And I told him my personal mistake I made when I was trying to learn English. You know, I always get confused with sugar-free and free sugar. Just think about this. It's something similar. Number 11, 贵. You have to know what the meaning of this. 贵 meaning expensive, right? And cheap, 便宜. I know you probably get bored when every time I talk about one thing and I'm just going to review the old things we look at together, but that's how the memory works. You only remember things that you frequently see or use. Right? 贵 and 便宜. Right? Try to remember those together. 贵 and 便宜. 美 we know this from the very beginning. 每个人 right? 每 meaning every or each. 每个人 everyone. In the context of lesson 13, I assume they're talking about the different rooms. So that is 每套房子 right? The every single set of rooms. Or I can say 每间房子. 每间房 I'm referring to the each single room within a house. Right? 最后 finally, at least, even though you don't know what 最后 means, you can even guess that out. We know 后 means behind or the last. 最 means the most extreme. The very, very last, right? That means final. 又 an adverb meaning something again. For example, 我今早看见你了. Let's look at the sentence. I this morning 看 verb 看见 verb to see 你 the object 了 By saying this, I mean I've seen you this morning, right? Because it has a particle le, indicating something happened or some status has been changed. 我现在又看见你了。I now see you again. And some of you will have the question that, 老师, what's the difference between you and 在? Remember 在? 在 is an adverb meaning again, same as you. Then when do we use 在 or when do we use you? Are they interchangeable? Unfortunately, most of the time they are not interchangeable. That doesn't mean it's meaning wrong or grammar wrong. It's just not the convention we say. By that I mean when you're trying to say yo, when you use yo, you cannot use 在 to replace you, but you can use 再一次 to replace yo. By that I mean, for example, the sentence, 我今早看见你了，我现在再看见你。That doesn't sound right. But if you use 我现在再一次看见你, that sounds right. You don't need to worry about the deeper reason behind this. For now, you just need to remember you and 在 are not interchangeable. In 99% of cases, they are not interchangeable. But when you use you, you can use 再一次 to replace you. Okay. Number 15, 满意 verb. Be satisfied. Be satisfied. 满意 满. If you look at this very word 满 itself, 满 meaning, 满 is an adjective meaning something full, something full. 意 your mind, right? My mind is full of satisfaction. That means I am pleased. Okay. Now let's read those new words together. Repeat after me. 租房套房子上个月了那这些那些旁边方便大小多少房租租房 Right? Think about sugar-free and free sugar. 房租租房贵美最后又满意 Right. Let's move to the newer list number 2. Let's read them together. Are you still with me? Type 1 if you are, please. Let me see how many of you with me. Right. 1, good. Right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Right. Let's read the new word lesson number 2. Right? Repeat after me. 搬家，搬家，已经，不错，离，远，走，路，行。Right, let's look at them one by one. Number 1, 搬家 is very obvious. 搬, we all know what 家 means. 家 means physically your home and emotionally your family. And obviously it means physically your home now. And if we understand 家 meaning the house, then 搬 as a verb. You see, our textbook doesn't offer what kind of word category it is because it is not a word. It is a phrase. 搬 means, 搬 itself is a verb, meaning to move. 搬家 to move the house. Number 2, 已经is an adverb, meaning already. Well, you use as same as English. For example, and it always come together with what? Think. It always come together with a modal particle le we've learned today. Why? Because it's indicating something already happened, right? And the grammatical function of the modal particle le indicating something already happened, right? So 99% out of 100, when you see 已经, there's a le at the end of sentence. For example, 我已经不喜欢你了。I already don't like you. Right? Number 3, 不错. I think we don't need to explain this. 错 meaning something wrong. 不错 means something not wrong, something not bad, something pretty good. Right? And something right, something correct. That is a preposition and adjective coming together. Which word it is? That is 对, right? As an adjective, 对 meaning something right, something correct. As a preposition, 对 means against the regards, right? And we have another preposition here. Same as all other languages, the preposition probably is the most part that are difficult to comprehensive when you are trying to learn any kind of foreign language. The preposition 离 meaning away from. What that mean? 这儿离学校很远. What do I mean by the sentence? Here, away from what? School, very far. Right? 远 far away. Something close. What do we say that? Something close to us. 近 right? 远 and 近 远 and 近. If some of you had looked at the Chinese character part at the end of each sentence for the previous 10 lessons, you would remember the radicals for this radicals beneath on the left side and beneath the character 近 and 远. Both of them had the radical of what? Of 走 of 走. 走 as a radical, if you see the Chinese character coming with a radical like this, draw that out so you will understand what I mean. If you haven't looked at it, those character explaining part, this radicals at the left and bottom of those two Chinese characters is the radical of 走 coming from this 走. Coming from this very Chinese character. 走. 走 meaning number 6, meaning to walk or to go, right? When you see some character coming with this radical, that means you are moving. That's indicating some physical distance change by foot, right? By feet. 远 something far from here by foot. 近 something close to here by walk, right? You're moving the distance. Number 6, 走 is a verb meaning to walk or to go by your foot. Number 7, 路, and we've seen 路 many times. 路 meaning road, and people normally put those together. 走路 to walk on the road. 走路. Number 8, 行. 行. Actually, we saw this previously. In order to answer the question of 好不好 or 行不行, right? Your answer is either 好不好 or 行不行, right? In that way, 行 meaning alright. But 行 as a verb, I'll type it here. As a verb, it can also means 走. For example, there's a word called 行走, meaning to work by your foot. But just notice this. It won't show up in lesson 13. Right. Now let's read the newer list second together. Repeat after me. Make sure you do read them out. 搬家 搬家 已经 已经 不错 不错 离 离 远 远 近 近 走 路 走路 行 行 All right. Now we move to another newer list. Let's read them together. Repeat after me. 没有 没有 昨天 昨天 请客 请客 怎么 怎么 父母 父母 来 来 玩儿 Pay attention to the Republic song of 儿 玩儿 Okay, not one, 玩儿 Right. And I think we know every single so-called new word here. But let's still go through them together because some of them have the different meanings now. 没有 we know 有 meaning there is, there are, there be, right? 没 is a negator, is one kind of negator in Chinese. There are only 3 negators in Chinese language. One is 不, another is, the second is 没, and third is 别, right? 没 for the modern simplified Chinese, there are only 3. For the classic Chinese, there are more, but you don't need to worry about that. 不没别, right? And what you need to remember here, it is always 没有, never 不有. I emphasize again, it is always 没有, never 不有. 没有 meaning, in lesson 13 meaning, not yet. What does that mean? Let's look at one example here. 你吃早饭了吗？你吃早饭了吗？ It's a simple question ending with ma and a question mark. What is different is it comes with a modal particle le. Have you had breakfast? The answer is no, I haven't. 没有. Right, I repeat this. Have you had breakfast? Because it comes with the le, and you need to answer it's also something not happened yet. 没有. And in this way, 有 functions as a modal verb, as a auxiliary verb that doesn't have the actual meaning. To form something that already happened structure. So 没有 doesn't indicating there doesn't exist, because in the different contexts. For example, if I ask 你有中文书吗? You can answer 我没有, right? Or simply 没有. In this context, 没有 meaning don't have, right? What I'm trying to say here is 你吃早饭了吗？没有。有 also means to have, but have as an auxiliary verb, not as an actual verb indicating something exists, right? To make it short and simple, the way to answer the question with le, the negative way to answer the question with the modal particle le, to indicate something that hasn't happened yet, you use 没有. In this context, 没有 as an adverb refers to something not yet happened. Okay. To make this short, I'll repeat again. 没有 being an actual verb, 有 being an actual verb, it can indicating something exists or doesn't exist with the negative 没. 你有中文书吗? Do you have a Chinese book? I don't have, right? And as an auxiliary verb, just think your English have as an auxiliary verb. 没有 meaning not yet have done, right? It doesn't indicating something physically exists or not. The easiest way to remember this, use 没有 to answer the question with le that has not happened. Right. Second, 昨天, we don't need to explain this, but what we do need to look at is the series of verbs. Today, ask yourself how to say today in Chinese. 今天, right? So what is the day before yesterday? Last one. 昨天. Yesterday, 昨天. The day before yesterday, 前天. Right? Tomorrow, 明天. The day after tomorrow, Remember this? 后天 Right. This year 今年 Last year 去年 or 上一年 The day before last year 前年 Next year 明年 or 下一年 Year after next year 后年 They come with the same structures. As long as you remember the logic of this, you will remember all of them. Now let's do the week as well. This week, 这个星期 Last week, 上个星期 Week before last week, 大上个星期 Next week, 下个星期 The week after, 大下个星期 Okay. They have some logic coming together, but there are some conventions. For example, the 大 and the 大 indicating something huge, something bigger. In terms of the distance of period time, that refers to that distance is bigger. There's already always say that language reflects the ideology of different nations, people, not nations. People speak same language does not necessarily be one nation, right? But it does some kind of reflect the ideology, because for the Chinese ancestors, the time distance are measurable with big and small. It is physical. It is for them physical things. Number 3, 请客. We know what 请 means, to invite somebody to do something, to ask somebody politely to do something. For example, 请问, right? 客, we've seen 客 meaning guests, right? To invite a guest, that means to treat somebody to a dinner, performance, etc., entertaining the guest. Normally, the very usual use the expression is 今天我请客. 今天我请客 meaning today is my turn to treat you guys. Or 今天他请客. Or 今天某某某请客. Somebody, whoever 请客, right? In Chinese context, somebody 请客. That means somebody is going to pay the bill. To treat somebody, well, you can 请客, you can treat somebody to do everything. You can take them to dinner, to lunch, to a opera, to a cinema, to whatever. When you use 请客, that means it is my honor to treat you today, meaning it is your honor to pay the bill. Number 4, 怎么. We've seen 怎么 many times. right? Used to inquire about nature, condition, cause. And we also seen 怎么样. You remember this? 怎么样? 怎么样和怎么 and 怎么 are two different, completely different. Not completely. They have some links, but they have completely meanings. They are all different question pronoun. They have different meanings and functions. This is also our grammatical part from our notes of lesson 13, page 139, 139 at the bottom. 怎么样? If you do remember 怎么样? 怎么样 is used to ask about the condition of people or things. For example, 这个电影怎么样? A direct translation for 怎么样 is how about, right? How about? 这个电影怎么样? 这个 this 电影 movie or film. This movie film, how about it? How about this movie? 这本书怎么样? How about this book? 你的身体怎么样? How about your health? Right? 怎么样 is used to ask about the condition of people or things. But at the same time, 怎么 is used to ask for the reason or cause. Now let's sense the difference. Let's feel the difference. Is used to ask about the condition of people or things. Is used to ask for reason or cause. For example, 你怎么不去上课? In this way, 怎么 equals to, we've learned that. Why? The question pronoun of why, another question pronoun of why, to find out the reason in Chinese. 为什么? Right? 为什么 for what? 为什么你怎么不去上课? Why you not go to class? Answer, I have things to do. 你怎么在这儿? You, for what reason, are here? 我家就在这儿. My home is here. 你怎么不喝咖啡? You, for what reason, don't drink coffee? 我不喜欢喝咖啡. I don't like coffee. 怎么 coming alone equals to 为什么? To ask for the reason or cause. Right? However, 怎么样 with young literally means type, is used to ask about the conditions. Translate to English, how about? Okay, don't get confused with 怎么样 and 怎么. To make it simple, you can try to imagine those two are totally different question pronoun and they have different words. Despite they have very same characters, right? Because logically, 怎么 meaning for what reason? Young, type, situation. For what reason the situation become like this? And that indicating how about, right? If you want to link them together, you can think in that way. If you want to make it simple, you can remember those two as two totally different question pronoun for now. Okay, come back to this. 父母, we don't need to talk about 父母. 父母 is a more normal, more official way of parents and the oral way of expression, that is 爸妈, right? By this, I mean 我父母, my parents equals to 我爸妈, my parents. Is just 父母 is more official than 爸妈 itself. 爸妈 is more oral. 来 to come, to go, 去, right? To come and to go, 去. 玩, play, have fun. And 玩 itself, without this meaning to play as well. Right, now let's read those new word number 3. Repeat after me. 没有昨天请客怎么样？父母爸妈来去玩。Right, now let's quickly look at the supplementary vocabularies for lesson 13. It is a requirement to remember those supplementary vocabularies because they are very much useful. And you don't have too many new words for lesson 13. Number 1, 生病 fall ill. 生, if you remember 生日, that is birthday, right? 生日. That is your birthday. 日 is the date. 生 to give birth to. 生 is the verb, right? 病 meaning disease. 生病 to give birth to a disease, meaning you get sick. You fall ill, right? 感冒 same thing. 感冒 感 if you remember 感 I told you that means to feel or to sense, right? 冒 meaning cold. To feel a cold, you get a cold. And 感冒 is also a noun meaning cold itself. Normally people say 我生病了 or 我感冒了. There's a difference between those because if you fall ill, you can fall different kind of ills. You can get cancer, you can get a tumor, you can get whatever the ills, toothache, that is also ills. But 感冒 specifically refers to cold. 写汉字 we don't need to explain this. 汉字 Chinese character 写 to write something. 念课文 念 to read a text. In this sense, 念 meaning to read a text out. Right? It doesn't mean to read by yourself because that is 读课文, right? You read by yourself to your mind, that is 读课文. When you use the specific verb 念, that indicating you read something out with your voice, 念课文. 做练习 做 meaning to do something 练习 practice 做练习 do practice, right? 换钱 钱 money 换 to change money 换钱. Normally you need to change your foreign currency to Chinese currency when you go to China, right? And the Chinese, what is Chinese currency again? 人民币, right? Okay, repeat after me. Let's read this together and we'll finish for today. 生病生日感冒写汉字念课文读课文做练习换钱人民币. Right, thank you so much for participating today, and you can try your assignment and let me know what you think. Right, thank you. Bye bye. That's for today. 谢谢.